I'm one of 11.2 million disabled people in the UK, as defined under the Disability Discrimination Act 1996. I'm also profoundly deaf. In 2008, I went down to London with my mum, and that trip was a catalyst because we wanted to do two main things. We wanted to go to the theatre to see a show in the West End, and we wanted to go to an art exhibition. My mum had dementia, and it meant for the pair of us, we really needed to sort the access out. It was to take me 4 days to find an email address and a phone number. I couldn't Google it. I couldn't find it. Sorted out the access, and I was really struck when we were in the theatre, in this box, they actually cost us less to sit in the box combined as it would have if I'd bought the ticket online through a well-known ticket agency to sit in the stalls. The whole thing around digital by default is a real issue. Disability is the main cause of digital exclusion. As well as being 1 in 6 of the population that's disabled, one of the key things is they're also worth a lot of money. So if we're prior to the Paralympics and the Olympics, we were worth £97 billion. We just seem to be getting ignored. So 20% of business is lost because of inaccessible websites or inaccessible premises or services. And if you look at the stats around the number of carers, 10% of the population being carers, and then you throw in the fact that in 10 years' time, we're going to have a big population that are over 65. That's colossal. This is Samantha on the right. She's a huge Doctor Who fan. And when she went to Doctor Who exhibition in London, she expected to have a great time. But she couldn't find the access information online. When she phoned up, they couldn't give her it. And when she got there, she told the guy she was registered blind. He then said, "Do you need an iPad?" and ran off. When he came back, he asked for a driving licence. And as Samantha put it, if he wanted to get in the car with her, she was quite happily go for that experience. It went downhill from there because she found out the iPad had subtitles on it and the whole trip was a disaster. So she blogged on Pesky People, and within a week, the BBC had not only responded, but within months, they'd sorted out the access that she didn't only just complain about, she told them how to get it right. So she went back and visited, and they put an audio description, they put in large print, you could go around the exhibition twice. So that one blog had quite a massive impact, not just for her, but for a lot of other people. This is David, he's a really good mate of mine. And he went to IKEA expecting to just go to checkout, to pay, put in his card. He couldn't reach. It was screwed down. He couldn't hear what was being said because there was no induction loop. So he blogged about it on Pesky People, and within a week, lo and behold, not only had to put in the induction loops at clutch height, but they actually said that they would put in induction loops across all the stores, but also they would fix the terminal. So that was just one blog. And then Susie, profoundly deaf. Like everybody else, if you drive a car, you want to get the cheapest tax and car insurance online, and you just want to go out and go. When she emailed them and said that she was profoundly deaf and that she needed to have breakdown service that she could contact, it was accessible, they cancelled her car insurance. So she told everybody on Facebook, and then she blogged about it on Pesky People. Within a week, they reinstated her car insurance, but not only that, they said they would put in a text message facility. That was just one blog. These are two deaf groups that are on Facebook at the moment. The top one, Spit the Dummy Out, is a campaign to have British Sign Language recognised the same way as Welsh. There's nearly 12,000 members and a colossal amount of videos in there in British Sign Language covering all things around health, education, going out to the shops and going to the hospital. All the issues that they face every day in terms of discrimination. And the same with the Pardon Me, I'm Deaf group. We're now working together to try and mine that data off of Facebook so that we can visualise it and use it as a way of improving services and improving stuff from government. Because the whole thing about digital by default, it's not going to work if you don't actually do things right. But the reality is really different because if you look at these stats, 54% of disabled people are not online as opposed to 90% of the population. So we've got a lot of work to do here. And it's not just about being online, it's about making all those services and goods and all the facilities accessible. And then if you throw in the fact that 15% of those over age 75 have never been online in the last 3 months, what does that mean if the government is telling us we have to go online for everything? That's the first protocol. It's really big fundamental issues because not only are we more likely to be unemployed, we're more likely to be in poverty. We're more likely to spend our money because it's disabled. We're disabled, we're more expensive. So therefore you're putting the heating on in the summer, or you're having to pay for personal assistance, or you have to pay for taxi because the local bus is not accessible. You know, the list is endless. And then when you throw in the fact that things like some software to do with screen readers can actually cost £1,000 or more, that's an added, not only an added burden, but then when you're trying to figure out whether your laptop's going to be accessible, what type of mouse to use, you know, never mind getting online, you've still got to deal with this lot first. It took me 6 months to find a mobile phone that would work with my hearing aids, because that information isn't available in the shops, and it's certainly not available online. And then the whole other thing around when you upgrade websites or browsers, and then you forget to make them more accessible to work with screen readers, or you change your settings, and then suddenly you don't know how to use it anymore. These are really, really fundamental issues around the very beginning of, if you're going to do things digitally, make them accessible at the start. So all these smart TVs that are coming out now, you can't actually change the settings on them. They're just fixed. And if you want to look at anything that's streamed online, for me, as a deaf person, I can't. I'm stuck with the telly. Never mind my iPad and my mobile phone. Oops. Can we go back one slide, please? In terms of getting it right, I really believe that broadband should be treated as a utility. So if you've got social housing, it should be the same as gas or electricity. Why don't you provide it and make it affordable? Why don't you put iPads or other technology in those homes so we don't have to spend a huge amount of money if you can't afford it? Put them in places where people are going to use them. Because at the end of the day, you need to give us what we want and not what you think we need. In terms of building access into design brief, if you do that at the beginning, it's not going to cost you so much at the end, and you'll actually make money on it. So if you improve a website, you're not only just talking about that one disabled person, you're talking about the whole family and friends. Because if I can't go into to see a theatre performance because it's not sign language interpreted or subtitled, I'm not going to pay. And if you look at the whole thing around your design brief, you need to include us. Don't just think, oh, right, yeah, we need to get that disabled person in, let's get them to tell us what we need to do. You pay a plumber to fix your washing machine or your toilet, but then why do you expect disabled people to give you that advice and information and knowledge for free? It happens to me all the time. You need to train staff. You need to be aware of what the issues are, because at the end of the day, we're all going to get older, we're all going to have age-related illnesses or disabilities, and we're all going to need access. If you make your access online as accessible offline, it's a win-win situation for everybody. And at the end of the day, you need to communicate with us because we're getting locked out, and that is why disability is the main cause of digital exclusion. Thank you.